Hey, unpacking my journey from ordinary to extraordinary. This morning, myself, Jon, and Marty getting after it on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where
when something negative comes up,
building muscle appeal, blood flow.
Nobody is expecting Jon.
if your lady's saying that, you're just
Be entertained by fun over here.
How if I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that
There we go. Good morning, everybody. It's the Friday in the Loop. You got your host, Keith Bilous here, and I'm not dead yet. I feel like I'm yelling into the microphone. What's going on, everybody? Hey, we're getting after it. You hit that snooze button, you're 9 minutes behind. You know what we say. You got to get up. You got to get after it. I'm 9 minutes early today. I actually pre-hit the alarm. The alarm was going off at 3:50. The eyes went up. I was like, hey, it's time to get going. Time to get after it. Why? To greet you all with the biggest morning show for men. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. I'm your host, Keith Bilous. Over there, we got Jon Andersen somewhere in the California countryside. We got our boy, Christopher Martin. The boy is back. The boy wonder, CMartyFit, here in the lab this morning. We got Joshua Boswell coming in this morning as well, our guest coming in for the show. And a number of topics on the table today. We're talking protein with Jorie Janzen at the 8:45 mark of the hour. And just a reminder to all of you, we like to drop language that might offend somebody. Yeah, so if you're a children, if you're a middle-aged adult, an adult, or just an old adult, you might be offended by some of the things we say on the show. So I invite you to walk the kids out or walk the kids in or just educate them on some of the things we're going to talk about today, especially on the weekend of July 17th to July 20th coming up. Keith and Jimmy are busy. What? Yeah, we're going to bring in Jon and Marty and talk. Maybe we're going to invite them as well. Big festival coming up in July. We are looking to be the main sponsor of it. We're going to get ourselves lined up over there, and I'm excited to talk to the guys out here in a couple of moments. And, of course, we got a video dropped by Marty this morning. We're going to tackle that as well. But, Jim, let's bring in Johnny. Let's see where he's at today. It's Where in the World's Jon Andersen. Where are you at, brother? Good morning, pal.
I'm somewhere in Long Beach.
Yes, you are. I love when I turn the camera on. I'm like, where's the mofo this morning? Good morning, Pasha. I see you there in the comments. Thanks for joining the show this morning. Good morning, Clody. Yes, good to see you there on the LinkedIn feed. Clody, come see me on the YouTube feed. The YouTube feed would pays my bills, Clody. So, well, I love the fact that you're jumping into LinkedIn. Come hang out on YouTube with us so we can get some bills paid on YouTube there. Good morning, Pash, the newbie. I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Good morning, Amelia. I see you there as well. Myself and Jon Andersen, you're on the big morning show, The Big Dogs, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Johnny, how was your trip yesterday, brother? How was the travel? Your 90-minute experience to Long Beach.
It was actually crazy enough. It was, there was like a pretty massive storm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like my my middle daughter was coming from San Diego. And so it is always the way this works. So
yeah,
it's her older sister's wedding today. But then her boyfriend, they're very serious. They've been together for years. They're planning their lives together.
Yeah.
Haven't made it official yet. His sister's getting married tomorrow.
Oh, dude.
On what is it? Either way. So she's basically got to do this one and get on a plane and go to another one. But what I was getting at is when she was taking a bus up here because she's just got to basically get on a plane and go. They canceled the bus due to weather.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that tells you what type of weather it was.
Right? Yeah.
Most states they wouldn't cancel the bus for rain, but that's what we get in California.
That's what you guys do. Yeah. Good morning, Space Frog. My name is Keith Bilous. This is Jon Andersen. We are the morning show for men. What do we talk? We talk about business. We talk about leadership. We talk about athletics. We talk about nutrition. We talk about things that are going to help you get out of bed, help you get out and achieve the biggest goals in your life. I may have achieved a couple goals in my life. Jon Anderson's achieved a few goals in his life, and so is CMartyFit joining us as well. So Space Frog, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Join us every single day throughout the week, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Our reason, our purpose, we get up to help you guys get up. We get up to help you guys achieve big-ass goals. Good morning, Holly. I see you there as well. Tawas, I see you there as well. Clody, I see you there in the link in the YouTube comments. I appreciate you, brother. And Holroyd, I see you as well. I feel like I'm doing romper room this morning, Johnny. Johnny, listen, man, I found a massive festival that I'm working on convincing Jimmy to come join me at, and maybe you want to come join too, and maybe this might make Marty jump up and join the conversation this morning as well. But Johnny, massive festival. New details have been released. Jon Anderson, July 17th, July 20th, taking place in Britain. Jimmy, get the buttons ready, my brother. The biggest swing-a-thon, the sex festival in England in July 17th to 20th.
What does Lauren think about going? What's Lauren think about going to that?
Yeah. Well, she doesn't know that Keith and Jimmy are going by themselves. Oh, I just saw this here. I saw this this popped up on my feed this morning. New details released for Britain's biggest sex festival coming to July this July. It's Fab Swingers, Spicy Match, Pineapple Techniques. Johnny, last year the event was attended by over 1,000 people and featured such attractions as pole dancing, hot tubs.
I would have thought it would have been bigger than that.
Me too, actually. Yeah, true story.
When you say world's biggest,
Yeah.
I have to assume that I'm going to get more than 1,000 participants in the world's biggest.
They are the Britons, though, right? So, so pole dancing, hot tubs, foam parties, mobile dungeons, and Jimmy's favorite, the butt plug bingo. I'm waiting for him to comment in the text here. You are going to need some ID to get in, and this is the 5th time, Johnny. The fifth time swing-a-thon. And I'm seeing Jimmy's comments here. And then last year, Johnny, the Lincolnshire locals that host it, were not very impressed with the festival because of all the sounds of pleasured moans and groans wafting in their direction during the festival.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you figure if you're in a setting like that, the last thing you're worried about is making a sound. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
A lot of times when people are just kind of getting, early on in your experience of sex, making sounds is, for many people is embarrassing or whatever it is. You're kind of becoming one with yourself. By the time you reach the point where you're traveling across the world to go to a swingers, the biggest swingers, you're making all sorts of sounds.
You're just letting all the sounds come out. Yeah, that's just part of it. That's how it happens. So, Nation, July 17th, July 20th, Mornings in the Lab is going to be sponsoring the world's biggest swing-a-thon in Britain. What's going on, Marty? Oh, we got Marty muted there.
Got no sound, baby. Here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes.
Oh, he's pushing buttons, baby.
Oh,
he's going. It must be a wireless. It's got to be a wireless or something. Shit.
What's up, baby? What's going on, baby? There we go. I got my sound. We're good to go, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah, we missed that voice.
I'm assuming, Martin, you start to show almost every day with an imitation of me, and I'll take that as love.
Yeah,
that's all. Oh yeah, all love. All love.
I love it, baby. I love it. The funny thing is, I didn't even realize how much I say baby until you start imitating me.
And I didn't realize how much I say, come on, man, until you start imitating me.
Well, and I've been making content lately, and I've been slipping baby and come on, man into my stuff too. It's like just the influence. Hey, guys, yesterday I stood in front of this camera. I made 30 some odd avatars of myself. And I dropped a couple in your feeds yesterday. My AI avatars of myself. I put different hats on, different shirts on, different jackets on, and I stood here and created avatars. And I gave my keys over to Melissa and Jim.
There he goes, Johnny.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I'm at a hotel and I'm solid, for Christ's sake. Yeah.
He froze again.
There you go.
We good. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you're good now. Yeah.
I feel like every time I just got to do this once. I got to freeze once in a while. Did you guys hear my avatar story? I made a bunch of avatars myself last night.
Yeah, I heard that part.
Yeah. Let's see it, man.
I don't have them here. I'll drop some of in your feeds later today, but I sat down and I changed. I got a big stack of hats, stack of jackets, a stack of shirts, and I literally just stood here and I created like 30 different avatars of myself so that I gave the keys to Jimmy and Melissa, and they can just make content on behalf of Keith without Keith being here. So what does that mean? Like essentially they can create Keith videos without Keith making a video.
It's kind of scary, man.
I think I dropped it over to you, didn't I, yesterday, Marty and John? Didn't I? Yeah, a couple of days ago. And I actually, Marty, you're like, yeah, I got the gap right. Yeah, I got my gap right, actually. And it's funny because one of the AI videos, it made me have all these nice teeth. I'm like, hey, that's not actually on.
No, get the gap. Get the gap.
I was gonna say there's no fucking real teeth.
You sniff that one out real easy.
That's it. Hey, Marty, how was your day yesterday, brother?
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'll update you on it. Well, I should be able to update you on it later, hopefully.
Good. All right, listen, we got Marty dropped a good video yesterday from Joe Paterno. Isn't it Marty? Joe?
Oh, Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino, I meant. Sorry. Yes. Looking at a name here and Joe in front of me here. Rick Pitino. Jimmy, let's run this video with Pitino and we can chat about it.
Step up and be extraordinary. Stop being ordinary. It's all within reach for all of us, provided we have the humbleness to be patient and put in the work. Ego stops the work ethic. It makes you think you've arrived. You haven't. You're just scratching your potential. And that's why I don't know if any of you guys will ever play professional basketball. If you're going to change something, you got to put the time into it. Anything else is fool's gold.
Most of you aren't going to play professional basketball. That's a fucking gut kick.
Well, that's a fact, though.
It is. I know. But
it is a
he's
fact.
Being honest.
I know.
He's being honest.
Yeah. I that conversation is fascinating to me. I think we all can relate to this because Johnny, you've trained up and coming athletes, parents coming to you saying, "Hey, make my Johnny a pro," and you're looking at it going, "I don't think it's going to happen." Or Marty, you've gone around guys who think they're going to go somewhere and aren't going to make it. I know even in my world with Carter and playing hockey, how many people don't actually make pro because of the sacrifice that it takes to go in pro.
Yeah, man. It's a. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was going to say, here's the thing. If you looked at the level of sacrifice on a daily basis, right, you see it in a, as I would call it, a loop, 24-hour loop.
Yeah.
It's going to look fairly difficult.
Yes.
Now, stack up fucking thousands of those fucking loops in a row without taking a fucking break. That's the part that kills people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the part where he said scratching the surface, a lot of times we think we arrived, we think we made it. And it's like there's a whole different level you can tap into. A lot of people don't realize that. And those guys who get to the pros are the guys who make it happen.
Yeah, that struck me when it's like ego. You know, your ego thinks you have arrived, but you have no idea that you have not arrived yet.
Yeah, and then a lot of times it's not riding the actual, the you create something for yourself. Meaning you got some momentum. You're this guy. A lot of times it means not eating the fruits of that early labor, because that actually will slow you down. A lot of times people got a little early success. Next thing you know, there's chicks all around and they're distracted, and that's the end.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of levels to this fucking thing. You think you're good.
That's interesting.
Like in my sports, you go from and obviously I was in blockbuster sports, but you go from a local to a state to a national to an international. Now you're at a pro level.
Yeah.
The jump between national and international is so much greater than any of the jumps below.
Wow.
I can't even tell you. So it's like for example, to go from high school to D1 is a fucking massive jump. Going from D1 to the pros is way quantum beyond it. It's like a whole other fucking level of going for it. The percentage of people that make D1, I can't remember, it's very fucking small. It's like 1 in a million or some bullshit.
Yeah.
Then going from there to the next level is even a smaller percentage. So as you climb higher, the fucking climb gets steeper, and people don't understand that.
Yes. Good morning, you favorite. I see you there in the comments. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Johnny, you said something I never even thought about. And Marty, your age with as a 30-year-old man and, young athletes in their 20s and 30s, it really struck me, Johnny. You're right. A guy thinks they made it, the chicks start showing up, and those distractions, you think about how many women have distracted men's professional sports careers and taken them in a direction where they just don't achieve what they could have achieved because females got a hold of them. I don't mean in a negative way, just a reality way.
Man, look at the story of King Solomon.
Yeah.
In the Bible.
Yes.
Lust and disobedience.
Yes.
Ruined him. So that's been happening since the beginning of time. But you got to have some discipline with women, man. And but this is why this show is great, because we can put that information out there. A lot of these guys that fall to that, they never got that information. That's their first time getting exposure to that many women, and even knowing they don't have any idea how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's funny because it's such an obvious thing, but not often talked about. I know Flynn talked about it a little bit because she worked with the pro guys, but you're right. You get a sniff of some excellence. You play your first NBA game, your first NHL game. You have a little success. Next thing you know, there's your DMs are lighting up on Instagram. Next thing you know, your path that was going this way is subtly going this way, and that career you had is gone before you even know it.
Yep. Yeah, man.
No, it's like a fart in the wind, because somebody that's not doing the dumb shit you're doing will pass you right up.
Yeah,
And this is not everybody gets a fucking trophy. This is everybody who's taken every fucking advantage they can. And it's not until you get to that fucking high level and even sometimes when you get to the high level, you got to earn your way to that fucking group.
I would say
because you show up there and you're being hazed. They want to figure out, does this dude have the fucking nuts to stick around?
Yes. I'm going to suggest that the participation trophies, that methodology, again, love or hate, the administration ruling the American democracy these days is making those changes, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I'd like to think that we're moving away from participation trophies and rewarding folks for putting effort in. It's about freaking time again, actually, where society's like, yeah, you know what? Let's reward effort instead of rewarding everybody for showing up. Big difference.
Well, I'm going to say this too.
That's got to do with the parents, man. The helicopter parents got to sell the fuck down.
Yes. Marty? Yeah.
I was just going to say, a lot of people don't get exposure to high performers. So when they see successful people, it's just like, I deserve. If they can have it, I can have it. You don't deserve it. You didn't do what they did. And so a lot of people don't recognize the work that goes into it. I'm sure Johnny has probably seen this in his training career as well. With a lot of my clients, they think they deserve a certain body. You don't deserve that body. You're not doing what he or she is doing. So a lot of people just don't understand that concept.
And I love you saying that, Mark, because that kind of goes to what I was saying a little bit ago. If you look at what someone has to do on a daily basis to get to that high level, if somebody looks at a day, I can do that.
Yes.
You probably could for a few fucking days.
Yes.
You probably could but what happens when everybody's fucking sleeping on Saturday fucking morning?
Yes.
And they're going to be going to brunch at fucking 11, and you're going to be fucking drenched in sweat, covered in shit, or whatever the fuck you're doing. What about fucking birthdays? What about fucking New Year's Eve? What about all these fucking days that you're not willing to give up? That motherfucker is doing that fucking thing in that 24-hour period every fucking day for years, and he doesn't have an excuse. That's the part that fucks people up.
I incorrectly used the word deserved a few months back on the show when I was talking about us and having an audience and grabbing a bigger audience, and you guys reminded me, and I've been really conscious and aware of the use of that word, because you don't deserve anything without putting the effort in. Like, there's no, like, that word deserve, I think is as equally as important as the word intentional. People are scared of both, because intentional, when you become intentional, you're like, oh, I got to act on it. And then when you say deserve, there's the flip side to that, which is, oh, I fucking deserve this. Who are you? What kind of work have you put into earn it? You got.
I don't think that a person should even be able to use that fucking term about themselves.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
Mm-hmm. That's a term that you can use to somebody else, but you can't fucking turn that on yourself. Yeah. You turn that on yourself, you're fucking missing the boat.
I agree with you. I could not agree with you more, because when you say I deserve this, You're putting your ego in front of everything, and you're like, I deserve this, right? Speaking about decision-making, boys, Jimmy, I'll get to the accountability check in a quick second here. Carter had a big decision he's been making over the last couple of weeks where he's going to play junior hockey next year, right? So he, and I want to share this with you guys because we as men talk about making decisions. Well, he had this decision to make over the last couple of weeks, and last night he arrived at the decision, boys. And, but there was a two-pronged approach. So he made the decision in his mind. But it's funny because he then called the coach and made that commitment to the coach. And then when he called me and we spoke about it, I said to him, I'm like, hey, Carter, it's one thing to think about it out in your head, and it's one thing to arrive at the decision in your head. I says, but it's a whole other thing to say it out loud publicly. He's like, oh, Dad, he goes, as we're talking about it right now, I'm realizing that I made this public declaration to the coach, and I've now made this public declaration to you. I've now made this decision publicly. I have to follow through on it. And it was really fun to hear this 18-year-old arriving at that decision process, because it's one thing, like Marty or Johnny, you'd make a decision in your head, but then when you come on here and you say it out loud to everybody, they're like, oh, they're now holding me accountable to it. It's a whole different level of accountability.
Oh yeah, it is, man.
Yeah.
Right. So
power of the tongue.
Here's the thing though. This is kind of a make or break situation for anybody.
Yeah.
You start saying things out fucking loud and you don't do them.
Yes.
That is a big fucking problem.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Well, and what I find fascinating about this time of the year, and I know we're all about consistency and boring and doing the same things, but you look at it right now, it's March, right? So a lot of folks that got into the January resolutions phase, we're now into the end, kind of coming towards the end of the first quarter. Like literally in the next 100 days from now, we're teasing spring, summer. Right. So there's folks that are both looking at themselves in the mirror. They're looking at their economics. They're looking at their business. In the next 100 days are make or break for a lot of folks, I'm going to say, because you're coming up to the halfway point of the year. Like, it's time to go, guys. It's time to get rocking and rolling. It's obviously been time to go last week and the week before, but I just find these periods, because if you look at 100 days, you're coming into summer now.
I'm gonna add another layer onto that.
Yeah.
So before you do 100 days, start with 5 days.
100%.
Start with 10 days.
Yes.
And tell someone that's an asshole like myself that you're going to do it.
Yes.
Because one of my clients,
yes.
I said, all right, I said 6 months, no alcohol. She said, all right, cool. I said, I'm doing it with you. I rarely drink anyway, so it ain't shit for me.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm like, all right, 6 months. We'll drink in June. We started in December. And she was like, I'll do it. I said, I don't think you'll do it. I told her that. She's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And she ended up messing up. And so I had to tell her about it. So I'm like, every time you do this, you mess up.
Yeah.
So where's the shift going to be? When are we going to do this? So tell someone like myself, Keith, or John that's really going to hold you accountable.
Yes.
So I made her start over. So we're going to see what happens.
For you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. All right, boys, let's do the accountability check-in. We'll come back and keep the show rolling here. Let's do it. All right, Jim. I know we had a guest lined up for today, guys. I think there's been some miscommunicating on the background, or the guest couldn't just find the studio. Yeah, it's over here. It's right here. All right. You ever notice how there's some days fuel you while others, they just drain you? Yeah. It's not about workload. It's about alignment. The difference, when work matches your strengths and values, momentum feels natural. When it doesn't, even small tasks, those ones you got to get through the day today, they feel like a grind. The burnout isn't always about doing too much. Sometimes it's about doing the wrong things for a long time. If you're feeling stuck, ask yourself, am I saying yes out of this obligation? Or am I saying yes out of excitement? Is my work energizing me or just filling time? Are you approaching Mondays like some folks approach Mondays with sorrow and despair? Or do you approach Mondays looking to tackle progress or just running in circles? Here's the thing, guys. You got to pay attention to what lights you up and what drains you. Small shifts, delegating tasks, setting boundaries, or redefining your role can make all of the difference. Because when your work fits, energy follows, baby. Yeah, true story. There's your accountability check-in this morning. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends. Get after it, guys. When your work fits, energy, it's going to follow you, not the other way around. That's it. All right, Jim. Hey, Jimmy, let's you know what, Jimmy, let's do something fun here. Let's if we can quickly pull that video up that I showed you this morning with that young lady introducing that clip with me and Johnny yesterday. Let's run that for the boys here. I think if we can do that, that'd be fun, Jim. I don't know if you can quickly pull that or not. Let me see if I can get it to you as well, Jimmy. But that was we'll show that video of that AI avatar, and I'm gonna get it over to you here, Jimmy, as well here, actually, my friend. Let's see here. I'm gonna get this here for you, Jim, and then I'm gonna get this for you here, and I'm gonna pass it on over to you. We'll run that here in a second. Jimmy, I'm dropping it to you in the room there, pal. There you go. There, cool. All right, so I have something here while Jimmy's getting that ready here. Guys, so we always talk on this show about communicating, and I'm a big fan of communication, big fan of intentional communication, using the right words and using words to move discussion forward. Jimmy, let's throw Marty up on the vertical screen as well. I got four ways that we can communicate effectively to gather influence with folks, right? And not about trying to influence somebody negatively, but just tips and I hate the word tricks, but tips and hacks, tricks to get to help communicate with folks. Yeah, thanks, Johnny. I'm struggling through it here. Here's the first thing. I got 4 of them for you guys. To influence people, I got 4 techniques to help move this conversation forward. The first thing you want to do is you don't want to be accusatory. Right. So you don't want to be accusatory to somebody if you are going to looking to influence somebody. You don't want to walk into a conversation with somebody and say, Marty, boom, 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 John, boom, 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 boom. You might want to open the conversation with tact. You might want to open the conversation with some questions. And most importantly, you might want to open the conversation with curiosity and your own feelings and what you're concerned about. Because when you start there, you can take somebody down a path of where you want to influence them to. John, Marty, thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Marty. I'll let you lead off.
No, excuse me. I'm right there with you, man. I agree with you.
And then number 2 is staying laser focused on the potential situation. So you're looking to influence a conversation. You're going to a conversation right now, and you're looking to influence it. Often, we get caught up in talking about everything in circles. We go around in circles. We often will avoid the core conversation, the core piece of what we're trying to influence John or Marty or Clody or Benzie or what we're trying to influence them on. What we want to do is get right to the point. Maybe it's something like, hey, Marty, what's something we can do together to help fix this situation we're here to talk about? It's using this idea of togetherness instead of accusatory or me against you. If I want to influence you to get something done, what's most important is we're walking up to the solution together. Marty.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I can't stand that. You know, don't dance around the subject. Yes. Don't dance around what you're trying to get to. Get straight to the point. Yeah. I'm pressed for time. I ain't got all day. All right. Especially if you get me on the phone, you better get straight to it. I probably got something to do, so I'm right there with you.
Yes, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of, I think as long as people realize that they're respectful, you can be very direct.
I agree with you, and you know what, guys? There was a lot of folks that were upset with what they saw last Friday in the White House with the conversation with politicians, and even just some of the conversations happening that we see. Folks, people want direct conversation. They want being direct. It's better than beating around the bush. Get to the point. There's a way to be tactful and respectful about it, but get to the point, man. Have the conversation. The next one here about how to get somebody to, how to influence somebody through conversation. And Johnny, you're good at this with what I'm going to say next. You are really good at repeating back what somebody says to you to make sure that you understand it, so that you can phrase it and keep the conversation going. I've learned a lot from you with that. You often when I'm talking and I'm explaining something to you, and I know when you're laughing because you're going to be like, yeah, because I like to simplify it because I was a dumb son of a bitch, so I like to simplify things.
No, it's a different answer to that. It's when you're trained to do interviews, right? It's just about every time when you're sitting down with someone who's a good interview, who's going to say, repeat the question and give your answer.
Yes.
Because that way, when they're cutting the shit up, they have a lot of ways that they can do it.
That's so true. It's so true. But you're good at it.
You you just kind of it becomes second nature.
Yes. But you're good at that. You're good at listening to somebody, repeating it back. Because when somebody hears your question or what they're asking you back, what you're telling me as the interviewer that you're listening to me, and you're paying attention, and you're rewiring my question in a way that you're going to respond to. There's a lot of respect when that happens, when you repeat that back to somebody. And then number 4,
and if it's on that level, not in a non-interview circumstance, if it's someone that's important to you, when you do that, then they register that you're following them nice and tight. Yes.
And then last, guys, the other technique I'm going to invite you to consider when you're looking to influence conversation is bringing it back around. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, and just like Jon does a really wonderful job of repeating the question, this whole idea of bringing the conversation back to the beginning again. So if Keith and Marty are having a conversation, I'm trying to get Marty to get something done. We're starting it off. It's like the hamburger method. We're having the conversation. We're getting to the guts of it. And then once Marty repeats, basically, okay, so here's what I understand. And then as I'm bringing it to a close, I'm bringing it back to the beginning here, moving all ego aside so that we both can arrive at a solution. And then ideally, if we do all of that, I've influenced you to get the response I want to get out of that conversation. So a little technique.
Well, and then I think another thing too on this whole deal is that you if you're trying to influence someone, generally speaking, if you fucking give them a slap, they're gonna be harder to fucking get them to do what you want them to do. You're gonna, I guess here's a better way to put it. You're gonna catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So when you're trying to influence somebody or something, first thing you want to do is you want to make them like you, enjoy the conversation. You want to kind of lead them in to where you can feel like you're on the same team, right? And then from that point, if you want them to make a decision, you kind of get them moving that direction so they think they've got the idea. And then, oh my God, that's great. Tell me more about that.
Yes.
And then they pretty much lay out it becomes their plan. It's really, yes, their plan to execute, but it was your idea.
Yes, it's exactly right.
I was going to say too, when you bring it back around, you're also keeping the conversation linear, so
100%.
you don't get off track. Because a lot of people might not like your tone or something, and then the conversation turns to
and take it
else.
elsewhere. Exactly. All right, let's do the fit tip, Marty. We got the fit tip coming up. Good morning, Amy Rounder. See you there. When we come back, guys, let's tease. Let's talk a little bit about going from ordinary to extraordinary, and let's talk about most effective leadership skills. Let's get to that as well. Marty, leadership. Let's get to the lifestyle tip. I'm sorry, the fit tip, brother. Let's get after it.
Come on, man. Come on. Get it right when it's my time, baby. Don't be messing up my time, baby. All right, we got the fitness tip for today. Small wins are big wins. Why did I say that? I'm going to tell you. So we kind of talked about this earlier, actually. So when you commit to 100 days of something, that's great. Is that going to lead you to your goal? Probably. Is that a great thing? Absolutely. But I think you should start with 5 days. Start with 10 days, maybe even 20 days. Start small. Because on that 100 days or 75 hard or 90 days, whatever it is you're doing, you're going to reach some obstacle. It's going to get tough. It's going to get difficult. You're going to have some grit. And if you don't have any experience in doing the smaller amount of days, how are you going to get to 100 days? Right? If I'm eating clean, if I'm trying to lift weights, if I'm trying to get more cardio on, if I'm trying to drink a gallon of water, how can I do that if I didn't drink half a gallon of water, right? So a lot of times we set these crazy goals with these crazy expectations, and then we get discouraged when we don't reach them. 100 days is not easy, right? So you don't take yourself out the game not reaching that high goal, the high day, the highest weight. Start small, work your way up. It is a process. Wherever your business is now, or wherever you are in your career, you didn't start there. Probably started at the entry level, right? Probably started as an intern. You had to work your way up. You didn't just get thrown in a fire and get to where you are now. So apply that same concept of fitness, and let's get this work in. That's the fitness tip for today.
from Art and CMartyFit. That's a good one, Marty. I like that one today, brother. Thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Jimmy,
you got that video ready? Let's drop the video for the boys. I made a fun video last night, guys. Was messing around with some AI characters.
Yeah.
And I had some fun with it here. So Jimmy's gonna run a little video for us, and then I'm gonna get into 7 ways that I went from ordinary to extraordinary with some techniques we're gonna use on how to become a more effective leader from ordinary to extraordinary. Jimmy, let's run this video, brother. Can't hear it.
My pants and literally ended up sitting straight in it. That's a first for me. Let's be honest, who hasn't? And Keith reminded us what trusting your gut really looks like. You don't say what if, you say, fuck it, let's find out. So what about you? When did trusting your gut lead to your most unforgettable moment?
I shit my pants and literally ended up sitting straight in it. That was a first for me. Because we've all shit our pants, let's be honest. Who hasn't shit their pants? But have you ever shit your pants?
You don't say what if. You say fuck it.
Marty wasn't here for that one. He wasn't here for that.
Hesitation or bad habit. Now attack it head on, baby. The world's governments know that AGI is coming. There's a lot of noise happening over there with politics. Believe me, what's really happening is what's changing the world behind the scenes. Robots are coming. Well, what I wanted to show is the beginning of that lady introducing our conversation was not real. That was a full AI generated thing. So I created that last night just
Marty doesn't give a shit about that. He wants to know what we're talking about with shit in the pants.
What are you guys doing when I'm not here, guys?
Yeah,
I miss one day.
He's like that whiteboard humor just gets out of hand. The first day I show, I'm not here.
I miss one day and the show turns white. Come on, man. I got to keep the show a little bit black.
He was good. You see, he was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?"
Oh my god, man, that's funny. That's exactly when we'll get a text from Marty yesterday. Go, did you guys miss me? No, we're just talking about Johnny shitting his pants. You're like, what the fuck is happening? All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about unpacking my journey, how I went from ordinary to extraordinary. And I know, Johnny, you've gone your path from ordinary to extraordinary. Marty, you have as well. But I wanted to frame this around the techniques that I used and that I explored to go there, right? So because it just doesn't happen by accident. So I want to get into the techniques, these 7 techniques I used to go from from ordinary to extraordinary. And the first one was, as I was going through my journey, especially as a leader, leading my team and Johnny, you were in individual sports and Marty, you were in team sports, but there's still leadership involved in leading others. You're leading yourself and leading people along the way. The first thing that I learned in my journey, guys, was this idea of inspiring. Right? Inspiration, the catalyst for greatness. When I looked in the mirror at myself and started seeing my journey come to life, I knew that my ability to go to greatness from being ordinary needed to come from self-inspiration, looking in my mirror and recognizing that it was ultimately the catalyst for greatness. There's no such thing as motivation. I don't believe in motivation. I needed to look in the mirror and inspire myself. It's like when that light went off, it's like, yeah, I can do this. I am going to do this, period. Mm-hmm. Johnny, talk about your experience, and then Marty, you as well. That idea of inspiration, Jon Andersen.
It's so different for everyone. You know what I mean? So I hate to just make, because I don't want to say what I'm going to say, and people go, that just never happened to me. It's never going to happen to me, right? Because we're all so different. It can be. So how is this all do it better? When I was young, I was lucky in the fact that I just knew there was something that was going on. Once I had realized, okay, I can't keep up with the pack their way. I got to figure out a way to do it my way. So that's when just this miniature little light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe there's something bigger and better for me. And as I started to realize that I was, with my work ethic, that I was able to fucking really, there was a certain point where I was like, I'm looking around and I'm like, you motherfuckers are pathetic. I can work circles around you. I'm going to get what I want. There's very few people like me, and I'll join them at the top. It's just going to take a while to get there. Then this is the part that, that So then once I developed this, I started actually getting like people say FOMO is a bad thing, fear of missing out. Right?
Yeah.
Well, FOMO actually fucking turned out to be my best fucking friend. That fucking guy did that.
Yeah.
Circles around him. I'm not fucking missing out. And here I go.
I like that. That's
so the early part, I don't expect that a lot of people are gonna resonate with the fact that they were dumb little bastards and they found their own way.
Yes.
That was what started the whole thing. Right. But when I learned to take FOMO and turn that into a fucking power, now that's when I really started fucking going for it, because I didn't like looking around thinking I was missing out.
Yeah. Marty, inspiration for you. What was inspiration on your journey from ordinary to extraordinary?
Oh man, that's a good question. I got inspiration from.
It's a deep one, right? Then you got to think of how do I say something that's going to apply to somebody else that can run with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd probably say, just to keep the conversation on the same page, similar to Johnny. Obviously, I'm not where Johnny is, but just seeing people that are, I guess, somewhat successful, somewhat, or on the path that they want to be on, and I see their mindsets, and I see how much better they could be if they made this shift.
Yes,
and I have the mindset.
Yes.
So I'm like, I know I could kill it.
The next thing for me in my path from ordinary to extraordinary was recognizing the power of optimism. Recognizing the power of realizing the glass was always half full, never half empty. Right. And I learned that when optimism for me was that power that I could, because I learned that most folks didn't think that way. So we all know that to achieve greatness, you got to surround yourself with great people around you as well. Right? Even if you're independent, you still need the right team around you. I recognize that when I inspired myself and when I drank optimism, others took that optimism and elevated themselves. To me, the power of optimism is contagious and often understated. Jon Andersen, talk about optimism, the engine of motivation, basically.
That's a good one, because there was like a point in my life where there was a change. So early on, I was fucking driven. I'm talking fucking driven.
Yeah.
By fear.
Oh yeah.
I was fucking afraid of everything.
Yes.
Because everything was kicking my ass. I get on the fucking bus. Who's gonna fucking spit on me today?
Yeah.
I'm walking down the halls. Who's gonna fucking stack me on the lockers today?
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm fucking showing up to, a practice that I'm playing sports, but I'm not fucking doing what I'm supposed to do on my own time. So what fucking condition, what practice is going to kick my ass today? I was just one big fucking fearful. Well, I should say one pathetic little fat fearful motherfucker.
Yeah.
Anyway, I learned to harness that fear and turned it into something. Now this is where it kind of shifts. As I started to have success and I started to see things differently, it was almost like my goggles started to get more clear, right? And that's when I realized, holy shit, there's so much more power in being driven by what's good rather than what's bad. Don't be driven by the fear of failure. Be driven by how good it's going to feel to get to that new place.
Yeah.
And once that's switched, that was really helpful. Now I can kind of use both. I don't really have the fear of failure, but what I do is I look at failure. Is that going to change the trajectory of my life to the point where I'm not willing to take this risk?
Yes.
Okay, I'll lose a tooth, but I can stand back up. I'm good. That's my register of the negative side of it. The positive side of the fence is I'm gonna close my eyes. I'm gonna fucking feel how good that feels to do whatever it is that I think I'm gonna go, that I'm about ready to go do. And that's the part. That's that emotion. That's that positive chemistry that drops in the bloodstream.
Yes.
And I'm really not. Here's the thing. I'm not after that thing anymore. I'm after more of that fucking chemical.
Yeah, 100%. Marty, the next one that on the list here, we're going from ordinary to extraordinary, is this idea, Marty, being accountable, right? And again, this show, the principles of this show, the reason we all get together is because we recognize that accountability is a cornerstone of trust. when you say something out loud, when you make a statement out loud, when you write it down. But that there is the statement of trust. Marty, talk about how accountability, because I know you as well, brothers, have gotten to know you. That's the cornerstone of your success, your own self-accountability, your accountability to your God, your accountability to the Bible, your accountability to your own mirror every morning. Christopher Martin.
Yeah, well, accountability is just, it shows that you want to get better.
Yes.
And so if you don't want to be accountable, that means you must be cool with where you at. You must want to be in the same spot.
Yeah.
But if I go to you, Keith, hey, Keith, can you tell me how I can do this better? Can you tell me how I can do this, John? Can you tell me where I can improve this? That's showing that I want to improve.
Yes.
And so that's what it's all about.
You know what I like about what you said too is that I'm going to throw this out there. People sometimes forget that others want to be helped. So when Marty comes to me and says, "Hey, can you help me? Can you help me get better?" Really? Oh my God, I want to help you. Like people, I think sometimes get nervous about saying to somebody, "Hey, John, can you help me, man?" Damn right, I want to help you. Hey,
here's the thing, though. People say, "Help me be accountable. Help me do this. Help me do that." They don't really even know what they're asking help for.
Yes,
because what they're asking help for is they want to learn to be accountable to themselves. Because once they're accountable to themselves, then they can be accountable to everybody else.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they come and I need the accountability. But they're saying, please keep giving me fish. When I want to say, listen, I'll give you fish to keep you alive, but I'm going to teach you how to catch your own fish.
Right.
If you're not interested in that, I don't have interest in you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
When you're not accountable, you're almost delusional. You know, like I've had people I helped. I had people who I didn't help so much. And they might want to try a new trainer or try something different. Oh, well, it's part of the game. Yep.
Yes.
But I've had people be like, well, I tried everything you said. I got all the text messages right here. You did not do everything I told you to do. And they really believe in their mind that they did everything I told them to do, even though it's in here.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so you almost become delusional.
What about this one, Mark? What about this one? You know, is there anything else I can do to reach these goals? Well, first thing you can do is do the shit that I've already told you to do. That would be the starting point.
Be a good idea.
and after you do that, if you're not making the progress you like, we'll talk about some other shit. But the first step is to do the first step.
We're talking 7 techniques on how to go from ordinary to extraordinary. We got Jorie Janzen joining us in a couple minutes after Lifestyle Tip with Jon Andersen. Next one, guys, number 4 is confidence, the bedrock of influence. I learned in my journey from ordinary to extraordinary the power of confidence, not only in myself, but how it influenced others. When I realized that I could achieve, quote unquote, anything, or if I wasn't achieving something, but then failing it and saying, yeah, fuck Marty, I messed up, man. I made a mistake, but I still gained confidence from it. What happened is what you gained confidence in me because you saw me acknowledge my mistake. You saw me acknowledge that I was trying and you saw me say, I'm going to get up and go again. And you're like, well, fuck, if this guy fell, this guy's going to get up and go again. I'm going to work on my confidence to do it as well. The power of confidence is the bedrock of influence, not only for yourself, but for people around you, boys.
I got a question for both of y'all.
Yeah.
Johnny, you first. What creates confidence?
Work.
Failure.
I agree.
Failure.
One fucking word. One word. You put in the fucking work. And once you put it, that's the first step. You put in the work. The next step is now you got to negotiate failing.
Yep. Work, reps,
you can put into work, negotiate failing, and realize that failure is a part of your formula.
Yes.
You got and you truly lean in. How's this? Work, pursue failure with your work. Understand that fail is helping you with your work. You are a confident motherfucker. Very simple shit.
Yes. Next one, guys, is number 5 is empathy, the heart of connection. When I've admitted this often in our conversation on the show. I was not the most empathetic human growing up. I didn't know what it meant. I struggled with it. I had to learn empathy. It was going through my journey in business, my journey through divorce, my journey through life, recognizing what empathy was. But once I learned that for myself and for people around me, it absolutely moved me from ordinary to extraordinary. The power of empathy, the connection tissue that brings us together, and I think has brought the three of us together because there's a high level of confidence and empathy amongst the three of us. There's a lot of power in empathy, boys.
I agree.
Yeah. Next one coming up, decisiveness, the art of timely action. Johnny, you talk about this as well often. Get moving, create momentum. When you get moving, you create momentum. And what it helps you do is it creates that decisive action. It doesn't create ambiguity. When you're not moving, you're being ambiguous. You're being hesitant. You're being reluctant. You're not building confidence. Johnny, talk about the power of being decisive.
Well, I think when it comes down to it, when you're indecisive, it's not good for your, I don't know, I guess not good for confidence, not good for your self-esteem. Make a decision, start moving.
Yes.
And you're going to make plenty of wrong decisions, but that's part of making the right decision.
Bingo.
So if you're moving, you've made a decision, you're going to learn in that movement. And if you're learning, you're getting better.
Yes.
You know, sometimes you might actually, maybe the needle is moving the wrong way, so to speak, but you've learned that task moved the needle the wrong way. So you're still making progress.
Yes. Marty, last one for you, brother. As we wrap up this conversation, we'll bring in Jorie Janzen in a minute here. 7 ways that I went from ordinary to extraordinary, my journey. The last one, Marty, is honesty, the foundation of leadership and integrity. And since I've known you, you bring a high level of honesty to the table. As you've gone through your journey, Marty, lean into this idea of honesty being the foundation of integrity and self-leadership and just leadership in general.
Yeah, it's the same as accountability. You know?
Yes.
You have to be honest. You have to tell me what it is I'm struggling with, what it is I can improve on. And a lot of people look at honesty as a bad thing because you're not sugarcoating, or it might not be what somebody wants to hear. But at the end of the day, you can't elevate if you're not honest with yourself.
There you go. There you go. All right, you're here with Keith, Jon, and Marty here. Mornings Live with Keith and friends. We got Lauren's comment here. I wear my rose-colored glasses every single day. Yes, she does, but that is okay. That's what I love about her. There's nothing but positivity coming out of that environment. All right, let's do the lifestyle tip with Johnny and then Jorie. We're going to bring boys. Let's talk about coffee and protein. Can we do it together? Let's do it. Johnny, you're up, brother.
Accountability. What you got to understand about accountability is really you need to learn to be accountable to yourself. When you start off with an accountability partner or even a coach to help you be accountable, that's great because you're getting in motion, you're getting in the groove, you're moving the right direction. But the goal is not to need that person for the rest of your life. The goal is to learn to be accountable to yourself. Because then the cool thing is once you've done that and you've done that well, then you can help someone else with accountability. And it's like a positive web that starts to spread into the world, into your life. But the bottom line is this: you can't help someone become something you're not. So remember, accountability is a powerful thing. You got to do it for you first, and then you can help others. Once you help others be accountable, you pretty much got it down for yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you don't have something, if I don't have a glass of apple juice, I can't give you apple juice. Well, if I don't have accountability, I can't give you accountability. So understand this word. See how it fits into the big picture. Learn it, and then pass it on. Pay it forward, baby. Rock and roll.
With Jon Andersen this morning on Mornings in the Lab. The big word we hang our hat on every single day. It's the foundation of this show, accountability. Speaking of accountability, Jorie was here on time and we were late having a conversation around leadership. How are you, Jor?
I'm good. Speaking about accountability,
yes.
My sister came in last night, so we didn't get home from the airport until about midnight, and of course we talk, which Lauren will totally understand the talking. Right? So it was about 2 o'clock. Right. So it was about 2 a.m. And so I slept until 7.
Jorie Janzen. Did you hit the snooze button?
I did. I was going to do 6. Yeah. Oh, true story, Keith. I was going to get up at 40 instead of 6. And I was like, oh, I can't do it. Yeah. But I still put my usual Jorie ponytail in.
Yes.
And so that's my hat and glasses. It's my ponytail. And brush my teeth and put some gloss on. So, I'm good to go.
Awesome.
Because when you have trust with a team,
yes,
you can work through the conflict, right? So that you can hold yourself accountable to the responsibility you have to the team.
Oh, right? Jorie, I love you. This is awesome. Well, so then I have a good topic for our discussion this morning, which was, Jorie, what is Proffee? Am I saying it correct? And why is it trending in 2025? This idea of taking protein and coffee and putting it together and crushing it.
I was about to say, what is protein? What are we doing here?
I've been doing this shit for fucking 25 years.
The fact that it's 2025.
Jorie,
it's 2025, so we have to have something to obsess about.
I know.
That's what it is. The next thing, though, is that we're coming into more and more. It's more of an understanding versus new information, but it is new information for some people. But we're understanding that the aging process means we up our protein.
Yes.
So if we need to up our protein, where can we get it in? Because if I think of, people that are aging, which we all are, even you, Marty. So if we're aging, then sometimes the idea of getting in the amount of protein we actually need is pretty mind-boggling. If you think of, if I think of my, mid-70s parents, getting 40 grams of protein in at one sitting is going to be pretty tricky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Proffee, in whatever way you want to do it, is one way in one sitting. First thing in the morning, you're breaking that fast mode. And because when you wake up, you're more in a catabolic state. In other words, you're breaking down, right? Because you're in a fast mode. So when you're putting protein, which when I'm teaching it, I call them builders and repairers. So you want to build and repair. And so having that protein intake in that particular time frame can help get that total protein in that you need for the day.
So I do Procree. I don't know about protein. You know what Procree is?
What's Procree?
Jorie, take a guess.
Is that with your creatine?
Johnny's rolling his head.
Exactly, with the creatine. Yeah, I do that. But I'll start putting some protein in there. I'll do that since I'm aging.
So you do Proffee then. You do creatine with your coffee.
Okay, all right. Oh, my bad, Keith.
Yeah, and then Johnny. So I knew Johnny when I put this on the table. You drink your cold brew coffee. I know you love your cold brew. Johnny, I know you love your coffees. Am I correct to think or assume? I love the word assume. I'll put it on there. I'm going to assume you've been drinking Proffee protein in your coffee ever, Jon Andersen.
Well, yeah, I mean, this started way the fuck back when protein powders were just coming out. I mean, this was like protein powders were just fucking coming out, right? I mean, there was one. It was Metrips, What
was it called?
It was the first fucking Metrips. The company's still around, but they're little.
See if I
it
can
was
find
like
it.
Fucking hitting the fucking world. But look up Metrips in like 1998.
I remember.
How you spell that?
METRX.
Anyway, so Metrics comes out with this protein powder because before then it was like the Weeder products and it was like fucking like sawdust in your mouth. Like that shit was not fucking mixing up in a cup of coffee. I'll tell you that. Jesus Christ, they've been floating.
They got
around
protein bars now.
Yeah. So when Metrics came out, I remember I tried one and I was like, shit, this is actually pretty creamy. I thought my first thing was I could just mix this with coffee and I can fucking kill two birds with one stone. So in my mind, even way the fuck back then, I was already looking for time efficiency. So the coffee and the protein needs to be for you poor bastards that say, I don't have enough time for fucking breakfast. Put some shit in your coffee and get out the door.
Johnny, can we get a video on that? Johnny, please.
What video on? I don't use protein powders anymore though.
Oh, okay, never mind. I wouldn't be honest then. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I use the egg whites and I made plenty of videos about those.
Jorie,
I'll do it for you.
Is it as simple, Jorie, as taking my scoop of protein powder? Here's the hack for the audience, or Jimmy, are part of our video here. Is it as simple as taking my cup of coffee, my scoop of protein powder, and mixing it in, circling it up, and drinking it? Or is it more complicated than that?
It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. It's just some protein powders don't mix well.
Yes.
So it just depends if you want like chunks ahoy in your mouth, or if you want to have something
chunks
smooth.
ahoy. I'm still in that. Oh my God, Jorie.
Yes.
So great advice, Marty.
Thank you.
Am I looking for a whey protein? Is there certain proteins that are going to break down in coffee better than others?
Whey is one of the easier ones to digest.
Yes.
Sure. But some of them, it depends what else is added to them as well.
The additives, right?
Yeah. So either a good shaker cup, you could use a blender for, a quick mix if you want to wake up the household, if it's an early morning brew.
Yeah.
I will use a high protein milk. I'm not against dairy, so I include it. If you are, don't do that. But so that's mine. But it's how can you take it in? And as Jon said, it doesn't have to be a protein powder, though. You can have a food source as well, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
I just can't do the raw thing, but many people do.
I have to admit, I have not had protein powder in my hot coffee before. I think I'm eager to try it now. Like, I've never had it.
It's crazy. I mean, Jorie's so correct. You got to be selective what you're going to put in there.
Yes.
If it's got some sort of if you have a protein but it's got a creamy essence,
yes,
the odds are it'll be good in your coffee. If it doesn't have a creamy essence, that coffee is going to take whatever the fuck that is that's not creamy and make that much worse.
Yeah. Right, because Jon, it's like those creamers, like those powder creamers. I'm thinking is what you're suggesting, right? If you're finding yourself a good protein, that's gonna.
I mean, there's no question about it. There's if I was to use protein powders,
yes, that's
fucking protein powder. Your coffee's fucking good, dude. It tastes good. To me, that would be it makes I've never had one of these, fucking frappuccino caramel blah blah blah. I've never had one of those.
Yeah.
I have to imagine, obviously having some body and some, some creaminess to your coffee. To me, that's what the protein powder in the coffee was. It was like, shit, this is before Starbucks even existed, man. I was making my own, Proffee.
Well, the good news is you'll know that Starbucks is eliminating a bunch of stuff off the menu because the new CEO is like, we don't got time to make frappuccinos and crappuccinos and 30-minute drinks. We're just going to go back to serving coffee. So that's good news coming out of the Starbucks.
Yeah,
they are
that's
actually.
interesting.
Yeah, they are. They're eliminating, I think it was almost 30% of the menu because the new CEO is like, nah, we're not here to spend 85 minutes making a drink for Jorie when I got Jon and Marty and Keith just wanting coffee. We're going to go back to making good coffee, put their names on the cups, and make Jorie feel like she can come here and spend time here with us instead of standing in line waiting for the next extravagant 8,000-calorie drink. So, here we go. So we got comments from, we always have comments, Jorie, when you're on the show here. Scott Benzie coming in with Rick Metarex. Haven't heard that one in a while. Jon Andersen. Scott Benzie, what cold brew do you use, Jon Andersen? And Lauren is coming in with protein powder in my coffee makes me unbelievable nauseous, Jorie. So I know that I had two topics for today, but Jorie, I'm going to put the second one on Monday because this one is a big one. And I want to dig into with you guys. How much protein can you absorb in one meal? And I'm not going to talk about it here today. There's changing science on that from back in the olden days when I was growing up and Johnny was growing up and so
I was growing up.
That science is changing about how much you can, consume along the way.
But I think it even has to just to tease that. I use myself as a perfect example.
Yes.
I think it has to do with the person and how efficient has that person and their digestive tract and their stomach enzymes become with digesting protein.
So yes, so my goal on Monday is I want to dig into that. I want to do a little bit of deep research of some of the AI tools and see if I can find some more recent research. I want to create some long form content because Jorie, I think that is a question, a conversation that is constantly debated. Mm-hmm. And I think to this day that it still is, right? Can I crush 100 grams?
You know who is debated by? The poor bastards that are trying to fucking argue the fact that they can't get enough protein. Well, your body can't digest it anyway. Well, of course, it's like, what are you going to do with all that money? who needs all that? Well, I don't need that $5 million. I'm good with my $5,000 a month paycheck. No, I don't need that. It's just going to cause me trouble.
Hilarious.
So that's one
hilarious.
I want to get into that one coming up. Which how much protein can we get into? But let's wrap this one up with Proffee with Jorie here this morning, guys. Get your protein powder in. There's ways you can get it into your cold coffees, your hot coffees. I got to think, Jorie. I'm going to make an assumption here. A cold coffee with protein is probably better than a hot one. Am I wrong?
Well, anytime you heat a food product, even supplements, they're going to denature slightly.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
slightly to a lot. So in terms of the hot temperature, maybe just have it not like boiling, and then it should be. You'll still get protein content out of it, right? So it's fine.
When some of them you put that in too hot of water, it's gonna fucking turn hard. It'll turn fucking chunky. Like it'll start to cook.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that the temperature does matter. But at the same time, like for me, my first coffee of the day needs to be a hot one, even if it's
hot and black.
Celsius.
Yeah. And I'm not talking about Marty. I'm talking about my coffee.
As we have this conversation, the last time I remember actually doing this, a buddy of mine released a protein powder. And he's like, hey, will you try this?
Oh.
So I was like, of course I'll try it, What did I do? I fucking mixed it up in a cup of coffee because that was the way I used to do protein powders primarily.
Yeah.
And funny enough, when I actually it was cold, it was colder coffee. It wasn't mixing well, so I put it in the microwave to warm it up. And some of the shit actually created like this little wafer on the top.
Oh yeah.
Of cooked something. I don't know what the fuck it was.
I'm gonna go try a hot coffee and protein powder today. That's my goal. I don't think I've had it before, so I'm gonna give it a shot today. So. But there we go, Jorie. I appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Thanks for getting up and getting after
Good
it.
stuff, Jorie.
Putting your hair up and putting your lipstick on. And are you hanging out with your sister today? Or are you going to get stuff done? Are you going back and having a nap? Or what?
I have some work to do, but it's going to be a flexible work day.
There we go.
Yeah, it'll be a flexible work day, and just spending time with my sister.
So listen, you do have permission from your team to have an important meeting today, which might be with yourself, that might take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, which includes putting the head down, which includes maybe closing the eyes, which includes just getting some refresh, Jorie Janzen.
Oh, sleep is sometimes the cup of coffee, right? So,
yes,
sometimes it is.
Yes.
That's where you build and repair and rejuvenate. So absolutely, I'm not opposed to the nap for sure.
Right.
So.
Good. All right, Jorie, get your naps in, and we'll get you up until Monday, okay?
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, Jorie.
Everyone.
Take care. We appreciate Jorie. I love you.
Gotta love Jorie.
Oh, yes, always bringing the gears, always bringing the stuff. All right, Marty, I know you got to rock and roll. Johnny, I know you got to rock and roll as well because you are in a different spot here. So I'm going to walk you guys out, and Jimmy and I are going to do the Creator Spotlight Community Corner, wrap up our show, and get ready for next week. But before you guys go, Marty, what's going on today, brother?
Just work, podcast. Tomorrow we got dinner with the fellas for CMartyFit's birthday.
Yes.
It's at a Johnny Keith type of steakhouse. It's at one of y'all type of steakhouse.
Baby, we'll get.
I don't do that often, but I got to do it for the birthday, man. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And Johnny, you got a wedding today, man. Big day for you. Hey, on behalf of me and your brother Marty, congratulations to you and the family. You have an awesome day today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Maybe grab a couple pictures for us. You can show us. I'd love to see some pictures of the crew here today when you get a chance.
Definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome.
Have a look at me in a suit.
I
can't wait to see that.
Exactly what I had in my head here. I want to see you in a suit.
That motherfucker heavily tailored, dude. Heavily tailored.
I can imagine, man.
I had to get a new pair of pants, right? So I'm getting these fuckers fitted, right? and so you're standing up on that fucking pedestal to that fucking guy with the fucking. He's got the little the tape over his shoulder, and he's got a little fucking pin cushion on his fucking shoulder, and he's got these pair of pants on me, and he's pulling in the waist, right? And he's marking these fucking, putting little lines on it.
Yeah.
So I come out of the fucking, we did it with a few of them, right?
Yeah.
I come out of the dressing room and he says, well, this one, we can't do this one because if I take it as far as we need it, it's going to take both of the pockets, and it's going to combine. You have one pocket in the back of your fucking pants, which would look pretty fucking weird.
Johnny,
so,
what do you got?
So we can't do this one, so we got to go to the next size down, because then the pockets will stay about 2 inches apart. And if we go to the third one, you can't sit down. So this is our only choice.
I love it. I love it. Johnny, I gotta ask you, what are you up top? Like 82 chests, or what's your jacket size, man? You gotta tell me.
I think it was a 54.
54 up top. Yeah, baby. Yeah. And
then they had to tailor the shit out of that fucker too, to the point where because otherwise I just look like I'm wearing a fucking tent. You know, it's just shoulders straight down. You know, so they have to pull it back. They got to pull in the sides and pull it back around, because otherwise, what's the point of you know, having a tailored pair of pants if the fucking jacket's gonna, you know, the length is fine.
Yes,
but it's just you know, dudes that have the shoulder width like that, they're not dealing with the smaller midsection.
But I will say this, and I'm gonna get all handsome out here. Yes, Clody, we were joking last night about, you know, being handsome, but I will say this. I'm going to suspect, Marty, Johnny in a nice tailored suit with those shoulders, that chest, that little waist, those clenched cheeks, Johnny. I got to suspect, brother, you are going to be one handsome, good-looking motherfucker in a few hours today. I know you are. And there's nothing more. I think nothing more handsome, more attractive than a tailored suit on a good physique man. That's good-looking shit, man. Like some of those wrestlers and bodybuilders, man. Like you look at, we talked, Johnny, about Batista and Cena and those, like The Rock. Rock.
Oh yeah,
dude, man. Woo, baby.
When we had to go back to try the shit on, right? Because it's not like you could just anyway. So there was another couple there.
Yes,
and he was getting some stuff done. He was in the first stage, so I'm standing up on this fucking pedestal again, and I got these pants on, and Terry. He's like, you know, I like this talking to the tailor. I like this. You know, you tailor that very well.
Yeah.
Makes his butt really good.
Yeah.
And this other lady looks over and goes, I agree.
And her husband's looking at his ass going, oh, how do I get my ass like
that's
this?
Hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the husband was having shit tailored the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, so that's the too, right? Is a great physique can make a cheap suit look really expensive, right? Because and then if you put a nice expensive suit on a great physique, oh man, it just amplifies the whole experience. Right. So Rick Clody coming in. Yes, Rick, we want picks. I agree with you, brother. And Cosmic, good to see you here, pal. I appreciate you. I'm waiting for the show to really blow up. It's on its way, pal. And I want a bulletproof John Wick suit. Yes, we want Johnny to have the bulletproof Wick suit as well. So, all right, guys, well, listen, let's get them out of here. Johnny's going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here. And Keith and Jimmy are going to wrap up with the Creator Spotlight. Boys, I love you guys both. Great week shows. Have a great weekend. Marty, enjoy your meals. Come knock on my door today, brother.
Yes, sir. I'll see you all Monday, man.
For sure.
Have a good live, guys.
All right, guys.
Too.
Safe travels, pal. Have a good day today, okay?
See ya.
All right, guys. There we go. Me and Jimmy left. Yep. Keith and producer Jimmy on their way to Britain the week of July 17th and 20th. Haven't told our wives yet. Yeah. Jimmy's like, no, really? Yeah, Jimmy, actually. What are you guys doing there? Oh, did you not hear the start of the show? If you missed the start of the show, Clody, missed the start of the show, Cosmic. July 17th to July 20th, we're going to Britain. Britain's biggest sex festival. Yeah, true story. We're going to sponsor it. All kidding aside, we're going to take our Proffee. Yeah, we're going to take our Proffee to the big sex festival in Britain. All joking. Not going anywhere, not going to Britain anytime soon. Nope, working on building this big morning show beast. Yes, Rick, I know Lauren is watching. Maybe Lauren will come with me, Rick. She'll be like, why is Jimmy here? Jimmy's like, I don't know. I got roped into this thing. It's funny, the Keith and Jimmy relationship, Rick, is I talking to the camera and talking to the microphone, and Jimmy's on the other side of the glass here, and he talks back with his fingers. So it's a great relationship we have. True story. All right. I like to have fun with you guys. Love to have fun. That's the whole point of the show here. The world's a busy, crazy, nasty place. If you can't come to our show and have fun, true story, and not take everything so serious. You think everything I say is serious? No. All right. Ooh, baby. Jimmy, I got the itchy nose part of the show again. I don't know why. Whenever this community corner segment comes up, the nose gets quite itchy. All right, okay, let's get after it. I'm going to surprise you guys with what's coming up next. Here we go. Jimmy, I got the LinkedIn. Let's do LinkedIn first, brother. All right. Guys, my favorite part of the show. Well, every segment's my favorite, but this one's fun. Let's talk about right now, right this second. Hey, you know what, Jimmy? We could actually do this with my AI. I could actually just leave right now. See you guys. See you tomorrow. Yeah. See ya. And then we could bring my AI agent, the guy that is me, and then he could do these things, and I can go and drink my pro coffee. And you guys wouldn't even know. You know what? I have a video ready for you guys. We didn't run it this week, but a dude who makes YouTube videos slowly replaced himself with his AI version of himself, and his whole audience didn't even notice he was gone. True story. Yeah, so maybe I could do the same thing. Anyways, let's get after it. Let's talk about what it really takes to win online. Not just posting for the sake of posting. Not chasing vanity metrics. You know how I feel about vanity metrics. But actually knowing how to create an impact. How to shape conversations. How to move audiences and turn content into opportunity. In my experience, most people, they're just throwing stuff at the wall. Throw shit here, throw shit there, hoping something sticks. But the real pros, yeah, they know exactly what they've been doing, what they're doing. They're strategic. They execute at a high level. Talking about you, Clody. Clody's executing every single day, you guys. Today's spotlight, this guy is one of those pros. Yep, he sure is. He's not just playing the game. This guy's writing the damn rules. Today, on behalf of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, on behalf of producer Jimmy, Melissa behind the scenes, we are going to celebrate. Jimmy, let's get after it, brother. Today we're going to celebrate Brenley Santilli. Yes, he's the co-founder at Altitude Social Media. He's a social media strategist at Robbins Research International. As in, yeah, true story, Tony Robbins. No, we're not trying to get on Tony Robbins' radar. Maybe we are. He's the guy behind the curtain, pulling the levers, making the plays, and making sure every piece of content hits the mark. But this dude, he just doesn't build brands. This guy is one. Yep, true story. There you go. The t-shirt says it all right there. 100 million views on TikTok. TikTok? Did I just say TikTok, Jimmy? I did say TikTok. Yeah. TikTok. I'm just the old dude. TikTok. 100 million views on TikTok. Haha, TikTok. That's not luck. That's skill. That's understanding the internet better than 99% of the people out there. This guy, he's worked at Amazon, Dunkin' Donuts, and some of the biggest brands in the game. And when it comes to influencer marketing, he's not just in the room. This guy's setting the table. And if you ever need to hack the system for credit card points, travel rewards, and free upgrades, Brenley's got the blueprint. The guy flies smarter than the airlines themselves. So, Brenley Santilli, you're the one to watch, you're the one to learn from, and you're the one who's just getting started. So, nation, if you want to connect with somebody who's moving the needle, I invite you to connect with Brenley Santilli over on LinkedIn. He is our creator spotlight in the community corner for this Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And Brenley, here's how it works. We want to invite you on the show. We want you to hang out with me and Jimmy so you can celebrate somebody in your orbit and bring them to the table for the community corner creator spotlight. Man, I got my just talking hands everywhere this morning. That's what we do here on the show. All right. Next up is our Substack celebration. And every single day on the show, we like to celebrate a couple people here. And those of you follow me on LinkedIn, we've been digging into the archives, the alumni, and celebrating folks that have come through the show in the past. We celebrated Oliver Brown this week, revisited Oliver Brown, revisited Nicole Bernard. Nicole Bernard and I started the show a year ago next week. Next week is our 1-year anniversary of this show. Hoping Nicole's going to join us for a segment or so next week. But our next one, the next person we're going to celebrate right now is the founder of Demand Curve. Yeah. And I'm going to get over to his creator spotlight right now, Jimmy, and opening it up here. And we have a creator. It's a builder. Yeah, he's a builder, all right. This guy is not a hammer and nails kind of builder. No, not like my brother-in-law, Danny. Not like my father-in-law, Gary. Nope. Not a hammer and nails kind of builder. Nope. This is a systems guy, a strategist, someone who doesn't just create content. This dude engineers it. Some people stumble into an audience. Neil O'Grady, he designed his audience. He just didn't grow a following. He built a machine that fuels real businesses, not just engagement metrics. Let's break it down. This guy, Jimmy, let's put him on the stage, my friend. Neil O'Grady is all about the founder of the Demand Curve, a YC-backed startup. Bootstrapped 2 7-figure businesses, grow a marketing newsletter to over 100,000 subscribers. Neil just doesn't do guesswork. He finds what works, refines it, and makes it repeatable. He helps startups scale, creators monetize, and people who thought they had nothing to say, turn them into trusted voices in their industries. How did he do it? You got to check him out. Neil O'Grady. He's the guy to watch on Substack. If you've ever wondered how to turn your content into business, this guy's the guy to watch. One of the smartest minds in audience growth, one of the sharpest strategists in the game. Pay attention. This guy's playbook works. This guy, Neil Neil O'Grady is the guy doing it. So Neil, here's how it works, my friend. We want to celebrate you in the lab. So to do that, we want to celebrate somebody in your orbit, Neil O'Grady. Here's how it works, my friend. I want to invite you onto the show, and I want you to take somebody in your orbit and have them on the show so we can celebrate it. We can pay this whole thing forward. That's how it works, Neil. There he is on the screen right now. We're celebrating you on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, Neil O'Grady. All right. Jimmy, I stumbled through that one, man. I don't know. Hey, sometimes you got to stumble to get back to the beginning. Yep. Okay. Wow. Another week in the books. Another week of Mornings in the Lab in the books. This is week 51 of the 52-week year one experience. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. You know, the show started out Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Nicole. Yep. And this is the May of June last year where Nicole's like, hey, I got some other commitments I got to make. I have, and I need to move out of the chair. So Nicole moved out of the chair. Marty moved into the chair, and we resumed the journey, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. And then Jon Andersen joined us in July. And now we are all here with you guys every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time, getting after it and giving you guys things to help you get through your day. We talk business. We talk leadership. We talk accountability. What are we doing to celebrate year one, Ricky? Working on it, man. You're actually working on it right now. My plan here is to work on some of that this weekend and make some plans for next week. Here's the thing, Rick, is that I'm a big believer in celebrating all year things, not just a one moment in time. So we'll acknowledge it. We're going to celebrate it, but we're going to take the whole year to keep building this baby up here. So, yeah, that's the plan. All right, Jim, I think we're time to rock and roll here, man. We are wrapping it up here today. 80 minutes, the big show here. I'm looking at my news here if I got anything left for you guys to put on the table here this morning. I don't think so, Jimmy. I think I got a bunch of things, but I'm going to get them prepared for next week. I do want to get into this conversation around how much protein can you absorb in one meal. I know that there's lots of debates around that, and I'm not necessarily looking to give you guys a right or a wrong answer. We're going to find some science, going to find some recent studies that people have been talking about. And again, the point of the discussion is to encourage us always to be crushing our protein as much as we can. Protein promotes longevity, protein promotes strength. And if we want to age with our kids, we want to be strong with our kids. And it all starts with good sleep, good protein, and so forth. So, okay, well, Jimmy, let's get out of here, man. It's time to get out of here and get on with the rest of the day. Jim, I think we have some long form content you can create today. I think we can make some content around the from ordinary to extraordinary. We're going to create a video and drop that onto the feed for those of you that may have missed it. And that's something we can get rocking out there. And maybe we'll even get a conversation around a video made around Proffee today as well. That might be the plan too. Yeah, true story. Okay, well, listen,
on behalf of myself, I'm your host, Keith Bilous. On behalf of, we got Ricky in the comments, we got Lauren in the comments, we got Cosmic Vision in the comments. Hey, Cosmic, are you Patrick Jones? What's up, Patty? I ran into a good buddy last week. He's like, hey, I tuned into the show. I'm like, yeah, I wonder what your name is. Maybe he's the obscure ninja. I'm convinced the obscure ninja is Mike. True. Yeah, true. Adam Holroyd, thanks for joining us this morning. Scott Benzie, Amy Reinhardt. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us this morning on the show. Listen, tell your friends, invite them to the big show, Mornings in Live with Keith and Friends, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here on LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and all the other stuff happening on the other platforms after. Jimmy, let's go, man. I'm going to get out of here. Gonna find my buttons. There it is there. There's the sound. We'll see you guys on Monday, right here, 8 o'clock Eastern time. All right. Gonna walk out of here, down the stairs.